friends, what's going on? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, friend. I genuinely really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. That's right, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it for whatever it's worth, but more importantly, asking for yours. Todd Boehly's Chelsea, aka the data-led boys, are moving forward with their new Freund. Christoph Freund, sporting director, but are we going to stop there? More people are coming in. As Chelsea look to develop themselves into some sort of big mothership super club with loads of satellite clubs building a footballing revolution to ultimately take over the world. So we're going to talk about that today. Settle in, get comfortable, do consider dropping a like on the video because it supports the content and it's just a click for you and a smile for me. You're welcome to subscribe and should you choose to do so, hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Yeah. Alright then, let's get into it. Today we'll be citing two sources on the episode. We'll be talking about David Ornstein, well, jumping into David Ornstein's column on The Athletic, talking a little bit about what he's saying, as well as citing CBS reporter Ben Jacobs on the Twitter sphere, giving you some insight about what Chelsea are actually doing right now and what their plans are moving forwards, how this is going to work for Chelsea coach Graham Potter, and are we going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? First off though, let's jump and dive right into David Ornstein's column. The postponement of recent fixtures and the upcoming international break have given Chelsea's ownership a welcome opportunity to focus on other areas as the Boehly-led consortium continue to overhaul the club following their takeover from Roman Abramovich earlier this year. After the closure of recent transfer window and subsequent managerial upheaval in which saw Thomas Tuchel being replaced by Graham Potter, the Stamford Bridge hierarchy are intensifying the process to name a sporting director, and there's a strong possibility it will be Christoph Freund. Well, now it looks like beyond a strong possibility, and Fabrizio Romano and other ITKs are saying this is pretty much done, it's been agreed. The Austrian currently occupies that role within Red Bull Salzburg, who drew 1-1 with Chelsea in the Champions League last week. And Boehly has voiced his admiration for the Red Bull model, which also features RB Leipzig and of course the New York Red Bulls within its sporting portfolio. It is perhaps no surprise, therefore, that the work Chelsea are conducting to bolster their setup resulted in them exploring the possibility of hiring RB Leipzig chief executive Oliver Mintzlaff. Oh, well, we see a good model, the RB model, it works, you bring through super talents, we'll have that, we're just gonna buy everything. It's like Graham Potter at Brighton. What, he's a good coach, everyone likes him? Yes, we're gonna buy him and all his staff. Let's just do it with all the good executives too. Too long have we run under the Abramovich model, which was successful for a time, but it was ultimately spend money and get your mates in. The whole board was Roman Abramovich's mates, and there was really no proper, authentic footballing structure, and seemingly off the bat, that's the first thing that Boehly and Clearlake are looking to do. Structure. Although Tom Glick's arrival as president of business indicates a CEO is not an immediate priority, that could change in the future, and Mintzlaff is among a number of individuals who have been spoken to as Chelsea attempt to prepare and strengthen their structure for many years ahead. The 47-year-old German is believed to have been in particular interest to the West London regime, and a meeting took place amid an early sense that he may be a good fit for what they want. But the two sides were in contact over the summer. Chelsea's sale of Timo Werner and of course the interest in Joško Gvardiol were part of the conversations. It was decided to park the matter until the market is shut. This is not the first time we've been negotiating for players or trying to negotiate for players and other stuff has come up. Again, I'll lean on the Brighton story as we're out over there, negotiating Mark Cucurella, etc, etc. Oh, so what's your manager like? What's the setup like here? It looks like it's working rather well. We're going to buy it. That gave both parties time to reflect on whether to continue the discussions, and ultimately they decided mutually against doing so, which means Mintz-Laff will be staying in his current position. Anyway, what this means is, not only are Chelsea looking to hire Christoph Freund as a sporting director, they're still also looking for maybe like a technical director. I heard Nizar Kinsella, of course, of the Evening Standard, on speaking on the London is Blue podcast, talking about this. Chelsea will get a sporting director to work with Graham Potter, possibly a technical director as well. Maybe if they buy all these satellite clubs, like they're talking about buying a club in Belgium, in Brazil, in Portugal. Todd Boehly's been talking about Portugal rather a lot. He wants to buy, I suppose, feeder clubs, satellite clubs, develop Chelsea's own players there, create a network where the cream of the crop rises to the top, which in this instance will be Chelsea, HQ, the mothership, and all the best players rise there. Kind of like, New York and Salzburg go to Leipzig. Eventually Leipzig sell them to, a Chelsea or a Dortmund or whatever. But in terms of like the hierarchical structure, it's not going to stop there. Chelsea are really, really big on bringing in loads of figures to run, not just Chelsea, but indeed the whole project, which is bigger than Chelsea seemingly. And this is getting all the football hipster data nerds from around Europe to come to Chelsea, draw them in with money. And of course, Graham Potter's quite a data-led coach at the helm of Chelsea, like we've said before, good communicator, almost like a therapist, a very good company man for this Boehly Clearlake project to work. It all sounds pretty like cynical and businessy, I guess, but this is ultimately what's gonna work in the end. You look at, the City Group and the Man City model. This is essentially what they've done and what has brought great success. Don't you want great success? As long as they're not, trying to completely level the English football culture, which I don't think by any means they are, as long as they don't relocate Stamford Bridge to Texas, which at the moment, I don't think they are, go with the ride, man. Sounds good to me, right? For a little bit more context on Christoph Freund, I'm going to jump over now to the Twitter sphere and read what Ben Jacobs has to say on this situation. Christoph Freund set to sign as Chelsea's new sporting director, as first reported last week. He's already verbally agreed to the role. Talks began when Chelsea inquired about Benjamin Sesko in early August, with Todd Boehly impressed by the Red Bull model and Freund's data-led background. Something else that Ben Jacobs has reported on before is that when Todd Boehly and Iqbali of Clearlake, the whole gang, when they turned up at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, when the deal was completed, they were shocked and somewhat appalled by the lack of data that Chelsea were utilising as a European super club. As obviously guys that run big successful sports franchises turning up here expecting a lot more in terms of available data for them. So this is one main thing they want to change and make it like a big data-driven project, like with sporting directors, technical directors, player profile stuff, injury records and stuff, lots and lots of detailed look into things, make it more algorithmically run, if that makes sense. And then they don't, it has to be less emotional, it doesn't have to be as emotional, and they can take a step back and let it run like a well-oiled working machine, much like Man City. Freund has spoken to Graham Potter now, who is fully behind the appointment. Salzburg aware of the approach for weeks, and Freund has their blessing. He's already called Chelsea, quote, a huge club, and refused to rule out a move to Chelsea when he was asked about these links, when Chelsea drew of Salzburg in the midweek. Chelsea is still exploring appointing a technical director too. Paul Mitchell is friendly with Freund, and although he's keen on the sporting director role for himself, could yet be persuaded to work under Freund despite being sporting director and on the board at Monaco. Luis Campos will not join Chelsea Football Club as an advisor because his PSG contract prevents this, and both clubs have downplayed the links. Boehly did hold some talks with Campos, but Freund has been the top choice ever since Michael Edwards made it clear he wouldn't end his break from football early. Das ist gut, mein Freund. Look, I'm pretty happy with this. RB, the RB model is a very, very strong, intelligent, footballing, Germanic, hipster, nerd model, and that's generally what it makes successful football, right? He looks like a footballing director, doesn't he? He looks the part, he must be good. I know he's not German, get an Austrian nerd in there, an Austrian football hipster nerd, and start doing things properly. Data-led, Boehly's data-led boys. That's how we win the World Cup. Am I right? Jokes aside, this is really good. Hopefully they'll be joined up thinking with not just Chelsea satellite clubs, but indeed throughout our entire just Chelsea club, from, you know, academy upwards. Start developing players in a certain way to match a certain philosophy, start bringing in appropriate profiled players to accompany those academy players. Join that thinking from the ground up. People forget this is the reason Thomas Tuchel got fired. Maybe a bit of breakdown in communication, but perhaps that breakdown in communication came because of this. This is what Boehly and Clearlake want to do. Build the club from the ground up, joined up thinking, and have that integration from the coach. Like I've said before, I'll say it again. They probably recognise at the moment Tuchel's a better manager than Potter, but they need a company man to start with from the very, very beginning. They don't want to waste any more time, and, you know, Potter is seemingly that guy to do it. The coach needs to work with a sporting director, maybe even a technical director, needs to be interlinked with the academy and sees what exactly is going on, and they need to be the face of the club doing all these things. Tuchel just wanted to coach and be a sort of tactician, and although Tuchel was exemplary in representing the club through a really turbulent time, the more you think about it and the more you read reports about the desires from the ownership, from Boehly and Clearlake, you can kind of understand the decision, even without a breakdown of communication in the background. If you look at what Tuchel wants as a manager and what Potter's prepared to do as a manager and what the ownership want to do long term in terms of their build, you can understand why absolutely everyone needs to be appropriate in their current role in terms of their vision. And I guess this is what happens now, and that Potter is the manager, Christoph Freund is the sporting director. There'll probably be another like footballing person, like a technical director appointed, but all appropriate from the ground up. And like I said, what is smart, emulating successful models around the world. Boehly doesn't know everything about football, as we've recently learned, but what he is in reality is a very intelligent sporting man in terms of building sporting franchises, and football will be relevant to that. You know, he's won 9 out of the last 10 championships with the Dodgers. You know, he's made them a sustainable, you know, behemoth in terms of sporting success. He wants to do the same with Chelsea, and what he's done is he's looked around successful European models and goes, what works? What's cost effective? What is exciting? Oh, well, the City Group, the RB model, the academy, this coach, Graham Potter in the Premier League, all these things are working. Bring them all to me. I want them all. We'll start from the beginning. We'll make a huge investment. Start now. In 10 years, this will pay dividends. And that's where we're at. So it's really interesting. I'm quite pleased to hear it. It's like I said, it's a bit sanitized. There is like, you know, sort of cynical elements of it, but success is sexy, and Chelsea fans have enjoyed success for a long, long time, and we want it back. God darn it. So this is where we're at. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Please do consider dropping a like and subscribing if you're new. And yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you very, very soon here on Football Therapy. Take it easy, man. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.